Hi everyone, I'm Drew. This is my hometown. I won't tell you its name because I'm sure you haven't heard of it. It's tiny. Everyone here knows each other. There's only one school in the whole town. Obviously, I went there too. Do you know what all the students dreamed of? Getting away from that dreary town as soon as possible. There was a cool metropolis with loads of fun things to do and opportunities just 3 hours away. I wanted to move there, but it was practically impossible. After all, my dad believed that I should take over the family business. Why move when you have everything you need right here? Do I, though? Life in the big city is dangerous. You're going to work in my restaurant. Great. The future looked bleak. Dad always told me what to do, what to say, and who to date. Case in point, that's my boyfriend Hugh. Dad had chosen him for me because Hugh was the son of Dad's business partner. One day, you two will get married and inherit our business empire. He never bothered to ask if I wanted any of that. I was too afraid to argue with Dad, so I did everything he said, up to and including dating Hugh, even though he was boring. You're dressed too provocatively. People are staring at you. Cowardly. Tell me when the monster leaves. Hugh, it's just Shrek. And moody. You're late for our date! It was just 5 minutes. 5 whole minutes! I'm leaving, and don't bother chasing after me. I couldn't wait to leave our town. One day, a classmate of mine ran up to me at recess, beaming. Drew, I'm moving to Washington, can you imagine? Wow, lucky you, congrats! We hugged. I was genuinely happy for her. Soon, she left. Just a few months after that, another friend of mine came up to me. Drew, I'm moving to New York! Can you believe it? Congrats! It was getting harder to be happy for my friends. After some time, yet another classmate of mine moved away. Oh, come on! I'll be the only girl in school soon! And you know what? That's exactly what happened in my senior year. My last friend moved away, and I was left with a bunch of guys. It was a bit weird, and things kept going downhill. Guys, you need to choose the prom king and queen. My classmates lost it. After all, everyone wanted to become the king, and it was obvious who would be the queen. In an instant, I became the center of attention. Everyone wanted me to choose them. Hugh saw it, and of course, lost his temper. Why are they all flirting with you? I don't like it. Well, it's not my fault. Hugh just growled and stormed off to class. He could have stood up for me instead of throwing a fit. However, he was too much of a coward for that. The other guys saw our fight and decided that Hugh and I had broken up. That only made them more brazen. Still, I knew none of them were really interested in me. They wanted to become the prom king and not win over me. So, I turned them all down, one after the other. Hi, Drew. Let me do the biology project for you. Thanks, but I'll do it myself. Drew, I wanted to give this perfume to the most beautiful girl in school. You mean the only girl in school? No, thanks. I'd had it with them. Those guys were too dumb to understand that I couldn't be bribed. Hi, Drew. Bye, Eddie. What is your problem? Do you think you're the coolest girl in the world now? Leave me alone. You'll regret this. Eddie was the biggest bully at school, and he couldn't handle such an insult. He convinced all the guys I turned down to turn my life into a living hell. From that day on, they did all sorts of nasty things. They didn't have enough imagination to come up with something original, so they just ruined my test papers and put glue on my chair. One of them also smeared the handle of my locker with green goo that looked like boogers. Ew! I was so terribly tired of it, I asked Dad to transfer me to another school in the neighboring city. Don't be silly, Drew. Those boys are just in love with you. Yeah, his reaction didn't come off as a surprise to me, but it was still annoying. I felt so desperate, I even asked Hugh for help, but he just tucked his tail between his legs once again and blamed me for everything. I can't date a girl that attracts so much attention. It became clear that I could only count on myself. No one was there for me. So, I decided to run away from home and stop coming to school. However, I couldn't run away without giving my classmates a farewell gift, now could I? I spilled oil in the school hallway and waited for Eddie and his friends to trip and fall. I imagined how funny they would look stumbling and rolling on the floor like it was ice. Well, boys, let's have some fun. But then, the doors opened and a girl walked into the school. Her beauty took my breath away. While I was gawking at her, she fell into the trap I set up for the boys. Oops, she lay on the floor and grumbled. Which moron spilled oil in the hallway? I must have looked scared because Eddie immediately guessed I had been trying to prank him. He pointed at me and said it was all my doing. What were you thinking? Are you nuts? She was so beautiful I could only smile and nod like a total idiot. Yeah, you're definitely crazy. Later, the principal told us the new girl was called Megan. Her family had just moved to our town. All my classmates immediately forgot about me and switched to bothering Megan. I even changed my mind about running away. Megan fascinated me. She studied public speaking at the Young Leaders Club, was confident, and always spoke her mind. Hey baby, there's this amazing guy that wants to ask you out. And by amazing guy, I mean myself. I don't date arrogant bullies. By arrogant bullies, I mean you. Don't you dare call me baby again. Megan was a master at putting Eddie's gang in their place. I sincerely admired her and tried to befriend her. Unfortunately, she was still mad at me for that incident in the hallway. I tried to explain to her that it was just a misunderstanding, but Hugh interrupted us. He had the worst timing ever. Drew, I've been thinking for a long time and decided to give you another chance. We can keep dating. No need to thank me. The nerve of him! Shouldn't he apologize for dumping me when I needed him the most? I knew that if I told Hugh to go to hell, Dad wouldn't be happy, so I had to swallow the insult and agree to get back together. Megan looked at me with disappointment and left without saying a word. Well, at least things went back to normal. Eddie and his friends stopped bothering me, and Dad was proud that I was dating Hugh. Let me tell you a secret, though. I couldn't stop thinking about Megan. Every day at school, I secretly watched her. My classmate was like the moon, just as cold, beautiful, and unattainable. She ignored all the guys trying to flirt with her. Megan, be my prom queen! Am I a magnet for morons? Leave me alone! What, are you too cool for us? You'll regret this. Eddie was mean and vindictive. Megan got the same treatment I had. One day, I overheard his friends saying they were going to put a toy snake in her locker and film her reaction. I decided I would stop them and warned Megan. Stop, Eddie is going to prank you. But she didn't listen to me and opened her locker. I thought that she would start screaming after seeing the toy snake, but she just smiled. Was this supposed to scare me? I knew you were brave, but wanted to save you anyway. Save me? I can handle everything. That got me mad. There was no need to be so sarcastic. I was just trying to be friendly. Whatever, keep being stubborn as a mule. With those words, I stormed out of school. To my surprise, Megan caught up to me and suggested we go on a walk. Listen, I'm sorry. I can be a little harsh sometimes. It's just that I'm used to only relying on myself. Don't be mad. She smiled warmly, and I immediately forgave her for everything and explained why I had spilled oil in the hallway. We laughed, and I felt that it was the beginning of a great friendship. Can I ask you a question? Sure. I've seen the way Hugh treats you. He obviously doesn't appreciate you. Why are you with him? I explained that I was only dating Hugh because Dad told me to. She frowned and said that I was the only one who could decide who to date. That made me respect Megan even more. She had a strong character, a kind heart, and the sweetest smile ever. We became best friends and spent all our free time together. That only made Eddie and his vile friends angrier. But now, I wasn't alone, and I could ignore their taunting words. And one day, Megan put those bullies in their place so masterfully, the whole school applauded her. Even the principal took our side and finally punished Eddie for his antics. I started practicing public speaking and became much more confident. My friendship with Megan drove Hugh up the wall. One day, he finally couldn't stand it any longer. Why are you ignoring me and spending all your time with Megan? Forget about her or we're breaking up. That made me snap. I plucked up the courage and told Hugh everything I thought of him. You are a cowardly, possessive, and boring guy. This is the happiest day of my life because I'm breaking up with you. Got it? Your dad won't be happy. He'll just have to deal with it. Thanks to Megan, I became the best version of myself and was no longer afraid of anything. After we dealt with the bullies, the rest of the boys at school started to respect and support us. The principal even said we could become great politicians. Girls, you are real leaders. I will write a letter of recommendation to the University of Management if you decide to enroll. His words inspired us, and we started preparing for the exams. We had grandiose plans. One day, Megan asked me over so that we could study together. I met her parents. They turned out to be very progressive people who supported their daughter in everything. I was a little jealous. Knock knock. Would the future presidents like some cookies and milk? Thank you, Mom. You're the best. Things at home weren't great. Dad found out that I broke up with Hugh and went ballistic. Hugh said that some girl brainwashed you and convinced you to move to another city after school. Is that true? She didn't brainwash me, Dad. She made me believe in myself. I want to graduate from university and become president. What's wrong with that? Don't make me laugh. You're going to stay here, work in my restaurant, and marry Hugh. I forbid you from talking to that girl. Words can't describe how upset I was. I stood up to my bullies, put Hugh in his place, and became a leader at school. But I could never win when Dad scolded me. When the prom came, I was in a terrible mood. Megan noticed that. What's with the sour face, Drew? I told her about my fight with Dad. She took my hands into hers and said something that inspired me. Listen, this is your life, and only you can decide what to do with it. Don't give up and follow your dream. I will always support you. Friends forever? Friends forever. Megan had a talent for inspiring me. I was very grateful to her for that. We hugged and went to the prom. Our classmates and parents were already there. Dad turned red as a tomato when he saw that instead of dancing with Hugh, I was hanging out with Megan. Oh, I was in for a lecture. But I didn't really care anymore. Soon, the principal came on stage to announce the results of the vote. Guys, this year, the results are quite unusual. You chose those you consider worthy of the titles of King and Queen. I am proud to present to you the Prom Queen. I heard my name! It was unexpected, but very nice. My classmates cheered as I went on stage to get my crown. There was no one worthy of the title of King. That's why this year we have 2 queens. The principal invited Megan on stage and handed her the second crown. Wow! All our classmates voted for us and were cheering us on! Well, everyone except Hugh and Eddie, of course. They were standing to the side, rolling their eyes and scowling. I felt so moved I made a speech that came straight from the heart. The last year of school was not easy for me, but it made me stronger. I realized that it is possible to overcome any difficulties if you have a good friend supporting you. Let's follow our dreams and remember that the darkest hour is before the dawn. Everyone applauded and Megan winked at me and smiled. Her eyes were shining like stars. I was happier than ever. Dad gritted his teeth and silently left the hall. I decided I wouldn't let him ruin such a wonderful evening and kept having fun with Megan and our classmates. For the next few days, my father didn't talk to me. I had apparently disappointed him so much, he decided to cut me out of his life. Soon, Megan and I got letters from the university we applied to. We were both accepted! When I told my parents about it, my mom congratulated me, but Dad just snorted and ignored me. That hurt. Still, I wanted to show him I was an adult and would no longer let him boss me around. Soon, my friend and I packed up for the move. At the bus, Megan's parents and my mom hugged us and wished us good luck. I took one last look at my hometown and was about to get on the bus, but then someone shouted my name. It was Dad. Drew, baby, wait. I thought for a long time and realized how selfish I was. You don't have to live the life I chose for you. You are a really strong person and I am very proud of you. I wiped away my tears and hugged him. Thank you, Dad. I needed to hear that. Megan and I headed toward our new life. Now we are students and even live in the same room. I know that there are new challenges and victories ahead of us, but that's a completely different story. What matters is we're always going to be best friends. Please press like and let's discuss my story in the comments down below.